Nathan, congratulations on the milestone. What does it mean to you to make it to 250 games?
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, obviously I'm very honoured and proud. It's been a pretty long journey, but the last probably 5 weeks has been the most enjoyable for me so far, and I'm just excited to have been a part of something from the beginning, and what we've built it into today is something I'm proud of, and I'm looking forward to many more games ahead.
What is it about the last 5 weeks that, I mean, obviously you've been winning, but is it what the feeling around the club? Is it something else?
It's just the joy and connection, relationships with the playing group. What we've put in place over the last probably 4 or 5 years is some pretty strong foundations in how the footy club wants to be seen, and how we want to perform as a team as well. So to see some reward for that, for someone like me is very fulfilling. But we're obviously well aware of where we're at on our journey, and I personally feel like I've got a heap of footy left, and we're sort of only really scratching the surface of what we're capable of. But I guess if I was just to round out the amount of joy that I've had in the wins over the last period of time, I think someone pointed it out last week. I think the last time we won 5 in a row was 2 weeks before I debuted. So I think that's 13 years or something now. So you can imagine the excitement for me at sort of in the later part of my career.
Did you always feel that connection would come? You had opportunities to go elsewhere, and you've spoken about that before, that this connection with the group would come at some stage?
Yeah, I think originally I probably saw it as a bit of a dream, and I guess from a very young age, my old man always said, don't take the easy option, and that's something that sort of drove me to stick around and sort of see out where we're at, and hopefully be a part of creating some change here. And I was embarrassed at where the footy club was seen not too long ago, and but I was also really motivated about the challenge ahead. I'm a very competitive person and hate losing, but I sort of saw that as a really sort of pinnacle if you could be a part of something from the bottom and bring it back to being respected. That was my driving motivation, and I sort of got to foresee where the club's direction was probably 5 years ago, and where we are now. It's exciting to have been a part of that, and the relationships, as I said before, and the connection and spirit that we've built, the culture and these kind of things that people talk of. I think for me it's really tangible. I feel it every day I come here, and it's something that really motivates me.
Do you ever reflect on those darker times, or is that out of your memory now?
I've probably tried to wipe it from my memory. It's there's not too many boys here that have been a part of it really, like Maxi to a certain degree, and Nev Jetta, and as far as sort of staff and coaches as well, you can imagine how many of them I've had, and so it's not, I don't really reflect on it too much really. I'll try to, obviously, as I said before, my goal was to always try and get us into a position where, or contribute to us getting into a position where we're a respected footy club again, and I can help lead and create change with the perception that we were seeing, and that's something I'm proud of now. And I don't think the job's done by any stretch, but it's probably more right now. I probably look back only due to the milestone this weekend and reflect on where I've been, but also the fun. I haven't had this much fun playing footy ever since I was a young kid. The joy that I've had over the last few weeks has been hard to sort of compare at any stage in my career.
Is this group quite clearly the best you've played with, do you think?
Yeah. I think results aren't on the board yet. I was lucky enough in my first 8 games to play in a team that played in a couple of finals, so it's hard to even compare it with that. It's obviously so long ago and a lot's changed since, but there's a lot of potential here, and it's been a really holistic club approach. As I said, sort of 4 or 5 years ago, with the direction we were going, not only off field but most importantly on field, and we've brought in so many good people, which I think makes up such a strong culture and a great spirit, and some key characteristics, particularly around the players we've brought in, really excite me, and I think we're playing a brand of footy, particularly with how we're being coached by Goody and the coaching group at the moment, that is a real plays to the strengths of the players that we've got. And I guess for my sake and for the group's sake, really, that we can continue on the form we've shown over the last probably 4 or 5 weeks.
Has it sunk in that you are a possible premiership contender now?
Yeah, look, it's only round 10 or 11. I don't even really know, to be honest. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's I guess a small reward if you want to look at it that way. But internally, I guess we just reflect on trying to take it, and it's such a cliche, but almost a week, day at a time. Goody pushes that all the time. And something that we improved on probably from 5 weeks ago is about building strong habits, because our Goody's good, but the consistency was questioned, and we got a bit of a hiding against Hawthorn, and probably reflected from then on. As I said just before, it's been day by day since then, and we've been able to string together some solid form over the last month. And the challenge for us is just to continue to keep improving, looking for ways to improve. And I think the team that learns the most throughout the year and improves the most throughout the year is going to be the team that hopefully is there right at the end.
As a leader, is that something you need to do, really drill into those younger guys, that you've got to keep the lid on things, not get ahead of yourselves just yet?
Oh, I think that's probably a new challenge that's presented itself off the back of playing well. Every team would face that, and it's been hard to stay humble and sort of respect the game, and that's something that we've spoken about. And I think we got a pretty rude shock, as I said before, when we got thumped by Hawthorn. But I guess that's the challenge for probably the more senior players, and myself and Jack and the coaching group is to keep that in check. But I think the group's got great character, and at this point in time, I don't think they're getting ahead of themselves. I think we're very clear on where we're at, and we've still got a long way to go.
Compared to someone, say, coming into their career early 20s like most of your teammates are, is there a certain level of urgency for you in terms of success now and wanting that to happen quickly?
Yeah, only because I want a lot of it. I still feel like I can play for another, 5-6 years maybe, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Don't tell Goody that. But no, we'll wait and see. I think there's always a sense of urgency. I think there's urgency for the fact that I just really see something special here. It's probably nothing more than that, really. I think the capability of the group, we've sort of laid our cards out with our best footy, and the challenge is, as I said before, continuing to build strong habits and behaviours around becoming a consistent team. And when we can do that, that's been reinforced by people that have had success within the club and that I've spoken to outside the club, and you stay focused on that and don't get ahead of yourself. I think anything's possible, and the last couple of years, with the last 2 premiers, I think have proven that. You can sort of come from anywhere, but you've got to give yourself a chance and continue to improve, and that's what we're hoping to do.
How different are you to the Nathan Jones that debuted all those years ago against the Bulldogs?
Yeah, if you ask Maxie Gorn, he'd say I'm a bogan from Frankston, but no, I was probably wide-eyed, didn't really know sort of too much that was going on. I thought I probably knew everything really, but didn't know much at all. And it's been a big journey for me. I've learned a lot along the way. Obviously, I think I've had 7 or 8 coaches to this point in time, and it's been difficult because there's a lot of, you've got to be pretty I guess obviously resilient, but I've had to adapt a lot to different game styles and being played in different positions and those kind of things, which I think ultimately has now left me in probably a better position. So the skills I learnt throughout that period, although it was quite bleak in terms of results, I think in the end it's probably built some strong characteristics that allow me to still be able to perform today, and hopefully some stuff that I can pass on to younger players about not taking things for granted. And we had Bluey Adams here, premiership player for us from the 50s this morning, and he said that even his career feels like it was over in a blink of an eye. And I spoke to him at lunch just before, and he mentioned the same thing, which when you do reflect on it, it has gone so fast, and so that's why I'm really enjoying what's going on at the moment.
Flags, Bluey, as well.
Yeah.
You've got a bit to catch up there.
Oh yeah, well you never know.
300 games. Aim?
Oh yeah, look, I just want to play for as long as I can, really. I take heaps of inspiration out of other players in the competition that have been able to play late into their 30s, and I don't see why I wouldn't be able to do that, and there's a little bit of luck that is involved there in terms of being able to just manage your body and stay injury free. But hopefully, I've probably foresaw it, a handful of years ago that I'm in the right place at the right time with the growth of our group and the age of our group, and I guess me being able to play some good footy and continue to play good footy with the players that are around me. Hopefully, I can play for as long as I want to play for, and and see some success, which is the hope.
Was there a particular moment when you knew that the tide was turning? Was there something that happened, that perhaps we don't know about, that where you really knew the tide was turning for the club?
Yeah, it's sort of hard to put a finger on it, like specific day or year, but I sort of knew probably a year or two into Ruzi's coaching tenure that what we were going to sort of build and we're working towards, and speaking and working closely, obviously with Goody, Peter Jackson, these kind of people around the footy club, around where we're going and what the focus is, and seeing the type of people we bring in, not only being talented but the personalities and their makeup and those kind of things, and then obviously the game style, it sort of just slowly snowballed. And but really, as I said before, it's the investment into the people here and the relationships here that are what I'm most proud of and what I love about the footy club at the moment. There's a genuine spirit amongst the playing group for one, but also the footy department and the wider club, and everyone's in it for the one reason, and that's what we sort of foresaw and hoped for 5 or 6 years ago, and now we find ourselves in a position where we're I would hope a respected footy club, and we play a brand that hopefully our fans and members and stuff are proud of now.
Individually, obviously been pretty durable during your career, but you had quite significant neck surgery a few years ago. Just sort of takes us back to that, and did you feel like you'd sort of reach heights that you're reaching now, this late in your career?
This late, I've still got plenty of time. Yeah, I was probably a bit freaked out at that point, just because I'd never had surgery up until I got told I was going to get my neck opened up and put an artificial disc in my cervical spine. So yeah, that was a pretty daunting moment. It took me a while to come around to the decision of actually committing to surgery, but I guess once that sort of happened, I was all in with my recovery and those kind of things, and it was quite a arduous recovery. I think it took almost sort of 6 months before I was allowed to play again, but I was lucky that happened in the off season, so I didn't miss any footy and haven't had any issues since. It's been a bit of a slow burn building strength and those things back up, but I haven't had any issues. And basically when my surgeon said, hey, you could run over it with a truck, you're going to be fine playing footy, I sort of didn't have too many worries after that.
Yeah. And Rizzy's challenged you pretty strongly about your leadership during sort of his time here. Do you feel as though that you needed that at that point of your career to sort of become the leader that you are now?
Oh, there's no doubt about that, and to another degree, Goody's done the same thing. So, I'll forever be grateful for them challenging me, albeit probably with some resistance from myself originally. But I think now you look back on those moments, and that sort of it challenges you personally, but it also gives you an opportunity to grow. And I think Ruzi originally, when he first came, really put the acid on me to change in a few areas that particularly just due to habits that had been built up over time. And again with Goody only recently, I feel like that's shaped me into an even better player, better person, better captain, and I can still continue to learn, and I feel like coming here every day I'm inspired by the younger group and the players we've got around us, so there's no reason why I can't continue to learn as well.
And what have you made of the doggies so far this season?
I think a little bit underrated, to be honest. They're pretty good in some key areas, so yeah, we definitely won't be taking them lightly. I think obviously they're strong around the contest, which is a strength of ours as well, so we definitely think it'll be a pretty tightly contested game. They played pretty well at Etihad, and I think they're right up there for time in forward half. So yeah, it should be a pretty good game.